Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Wednesday, March 15. I am Abigail Smythe. Now, before we get into the news, please remember to like this video, share your views in the comments, and share the video with your family and your friends.
Teach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. A policeman was shot at an ATM along the Old Harbour Road in St. Catherine Wednesday afternoon in what is believed to be an attempted robbery. The incident reportedly happened sometime after midday. It is reported that the policeman was at the ATM when he was pounced upon by men armed with guns who opened fire. The cop was hit in the region of his hip. His attackers escaped. The injured policeman was taken to hospital where he is being treated. A man said to be of unsound mind was found dead at Folly Oval in Port Antonio, Portland on Wednesday. Police who have identified the deceased as Andre Weston of no fixed address believe he was killed between 4 p.m. on Sunday and early Tuesday morning. Reports are that Weston, who allegedly suffered from mental illness, was last seen alive about 3 p.m. on Sunday at the Port Antonio Cemetery by a relative. Police say around 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday, people playing football at Folly Oval smelled a foul odor and went to investigate. Weston's lifeless body was later found lying on its back in a shed on the compound. The body appeared to have gunshot wounds to the right side of the abdomen and right elbow. The police are investigating the shooting death of a Manchester businessman and the injury of another in Tollgate, Clarendon on Tuesday. The deceased has been identified as 67-year-old Jerome Bassier of McKinley Heights in Mandeville, Manchester. Reports are that around 10 a.m., Bassier and the other man were having a conversation along Decoy Road when they were approached by two men who opened gunfire, hitting them. The police were summoned and both men were taken to hospital where Bassier was pronounced dead and the other admitted for treatment. Sources say Bassier was recently attacked at the site of an apartment complex that he was developing in the area. Last Sunday, another businessman was shot and killed in Palmer's Cross, Clarendon. A total of 21 people were killed in Clarendon up to March 11, a 91% increase when compared to 11 homicides over the corresponding period last year. A 15-year-old girl is dead and her cousin in custody following a fight at Mendes Town in Waitabit, Trelawney, Tuesday evening. The deceased has been identified as Nastasia Turner, a resident of the community. It is reported that around 6:30, Turner and her 15-year-old cousin had a disagreement which turned into a physical altercation during which they fell. It was soon realized that Turner was unresponsive. She was assisted to the hospital where she was pronounced dead on arrival. The police were alerted and the scene processed. The cousin was taken into custody pending further investigations. The police did not say what caused the dispute between the girls. A taxi operator and a female passenger were shot and killed in Robbins River, Westmoreland on Monday. Police say they were killed by a gunman posing as a passenger. The deceased have been identified as 37-year-old Yukal Dua, also known as twin of New Works, and 53-year-old Patricia Stewart, a farmer of Bog District in the parish. Reports from the police are that Dwyer, who operated a black Toyota Wish motorcar, was traveling along the Robbins River Main Road to White House with Stewart as a passenger in the front seat and a male passenger in the rear seat. Dwyer is said to have stopped along the Robbins River Main Road. It is alleged that the male passenger then brandished a handgun and opened fire, hitting Dwyer and Stewart multiple times. Dewar reportedly lost control of the vehicle, which ran off the road and into a yard where it collided with a palm tree. The police were alerted, and on their arrival, both victims were found slumped over the gear and handbrake levers of the car. Both victims were assisted to the hospital where they were pronounced dead. Dwyer is said to have been a witness in an ongoing case in the Westmoreland Circuit Court where his twin brother was shot dead in May 2020 and he was shot and injured. States of emergency. SOEs have been declared in the parishes of Clarendon and St. James. The Office of the Prime Minister said the SOEs will last for an initial period of 14 days beginning at midnight on March 14. The Office of the Prime Minister says the declaration of the states of emergency will allow the security forces to carry out targeted operations to disrupt and dismantle criminal gangs and their networks and prevent the occurrence of serious crimes. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says organized gangs remain a threat in these parishes. The Office of the Prime Minister is assuring the public that the safety and security of Jamaicans remain its top priority. In the meantime, the opposition People's National Party has filed a claim challenging the government's repeated use of states of public emergency SOEs to fight crime. Opposition leader Mark Golding says the opposition is seeking a declaration from the Constitutional Court that the action of the government violates the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms and is unconstitutional. Since 2017, there have been repeated impositions of SOEs by the government, and the opposition is against these SOEs. Last December, Golding argued that the imposition of back-to-back SOEs was an attempt to circumvent the limits that the Constitution intended to place on the Prime Minister's powers. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has rejected the claim while asserting that the security measure has been effective in aiding to tackle crime. The Jamaica Constabulary Force has reported a decline in major crimes since the start of the year. There has been a significant drop in murders, with 236 recorded up to March 12 this year, compared with 292 for the corresponding period in 2022. Shootings have seen a 14% decline, falling from 223 last year to 191 so far. Robberies have also declined from 198 last year to 131. Break-ins have moved from 196 last year to 170. Rape has declined by more than 50%. Up to March 12, 2022, there were 109 reported cases, while 51 have been reported for the corresponding period this year. In business news, Grace Kennedy, GK, has signed a deal to increase the number of Western Union locations across the island. GK's Group Chief Executive Officer, Don Webby, while not disclosing the other entity involved in the deal, says it will also offer further regional expansion opportunities. He says GK has also signed another deal to expand its digital remittance service offerings. Mr. Webby says these measures are expected to have a positive impact on the company's remittance business, which has seen some decline as general remittance inflows fell in 2022. In the region, Antigua and Barbuda has signed an agreement with the Republic of Serbia, abolishing visa requirements for their citizens to enter the two countries. The agreement was negotiated and signed between Ambassador Sir Ronald Sanders, representing Antigua and Barbuda, and Ambassador Marko Juric on behalf of the Republic of Serbia. With the signing of the agreement with Serbia, citizens of Antigua and Barbuda now have visa-free access to more than 162 nations, making the Antigua and Barbuda passport one of the strongest in the world. Students from Antigua and Barbuda already benefit from scholarships to study in Serbia, and the two countries have pledged to examine ways in which they could be helpful to each other, including through cooperation in tackling global issues such as economic consequences of the Russian war on Ukraine. On the international scene, the devastating tropical cyclone Freddy, which has ripped through southern Africa in a rare second landfall, has killed at least 219 people in Malawi and Mozambique since Saturday night. The death toll is expected to rise. Authorities say heavy rains that triggered floods and mudslides have killed 199 people in Malawi. Some 19,000 people in the south of the nation have been displaced. Power and communication are down in many affected areas, hindering aid operations. The most affected regions remain inaccessible, so the full extent of the damage is so far unknown. Reports from Mozambique's Disaster Institute confirmed on Tuesday that 20 people have died in the country and 1,900 homes have been destroyed in the coastal Zambezia province. Tens of thousands of people are still in storm shelters and accommodation centers. Relief efforts in the nations are strained as they were already battling a cholera outbreak when the cyclone struck. And finally, in sports, Jamaica were held to a 0-0 draw with Caribbean rivals Trinidad and Tobago in an international friendly football match at the National Stadium in Kingston Tuesday evening. Jamaica controlled the possession for much of the game and had more chances at goal, but were let down by poor touches and miscommunication with passes, which resulted in chances at goal not being taken. Though Trinidad and Tobago had to spend most of the game defending, they did threaten when the chances presented themselves. They won the first game in the two-match series, 1-0 in Montego Bay on Saturday. Jamaica's head coach says he is pleased in spite of the result, as the games were more about testing young local-based and English-based players as he looks to build a long-term plan with the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualification campaign in mind. And that's it for your news roundup for today. Please remember to like this video, leave a comment, and share the video with your family and your friends. I am Abigail Smythe. Have a good evening and see you next time.
Teach them! Hey, yo, hello! Send the message and make it reach them. It's Teach Them, right here. Warlord representing.
Thank you for watching. Like the video before you go. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And remember to share the video with your friends and family. And browse the channel for more quality content. Until next time, walk good, my friends.
Teach them!